So what do you see for the future of facilitators of facilitation?
The future. Ingrid, what do you
Sure.
say?
Well, crystal ball. I have my crystal ball here. I think the only way that this profession is going to have a future is if it doesn't stay in the hands of just a few. While I think it's important to certify people who are going to be paid for doing facilitation, I think if we keep it to a click of 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 people, it's not going to do what I think we need it to do. So I think the challenge for the future is getting it into the hands of people in many professions, leaders, as we discussed earlier, teachers, and also I think we write too many books that sound like they're for people who are going to be facilitators, but we don't have enough books that say facilitating for community development or facilitating for social workers. We haven't sort of delved into those applications enough. And I think we need to penetrate other fields so that they understand what it looks like when they're doing it. So that would be my thing, is we gotta move it out to everybody.
You just given me 3 book ideas. Thank you, Ingrid. We'll pay you for that one.
All right.
Yes.
No, I agree with you. I think, and that was really my pitch a couple years ago when I said the IF's got to go from the Association of Facilitators to the Association of Facilitation. We've got to get ahead of it so that facilitation, I think anybody and everybody on the planet can and should learn how to facilitate to some degree, because we all have to deal with people. And if we ever have a job where we don't have to deal with people, that's kind of a sad job. So most of the people have to deal with people. And I mean, think about it, all the conflict in the world today, I mean, you think it would be a lot easier, or certainly a lot less painful, if we got all the different players who were battling each other, put them in a room and facilitated a discussion. I mean, I think facilitation can really be the skill of the 21st century, because I've told people, this is the only skill set you cannot outsource. Someone's got to get everybody to come together and work and do nice. And so I totally agree with you. I think we need to start, I teach high school kids and college kids and even elementary school kids how to facilitate, because it'll help them get through their adolescence, if nothing else. But then they'll have the skills of dealing with each other when they grow up.
And so we clearly have a love fest here, where we're all in agreement that facilitation is to get out there. I'm sitting here wondering, how can we as individuals, collectively as so-called masters in the field, how can we influence moving in that direction? I mean, Ingrid, you are the most prolific author in our field. You've written more books than anyone else. Gary, in a lot of ways, you have fathered so many children in this field, and that's great. And I know I'm doing a lot around with the Facilitation Impact Awards and find a facilitator to get facilitators work. But the real question is, what can we really do? What can we do to drive that movement? Any thoughts?
Yes, I have a couple of thoughts. One is, I think I already alluded to, I think we need to start to write books for specific applications, because sometimes people in various fields feel like it's not for them. Yeah. It doesn't really address closely enough their scenarios. So I think we really need to all make an effort to direct those materials to those people. The other thing is, I think that we tend to hold our conference amongst ourselves. And I believe we had a future discussion at one of the conferences a few years ago, and I know I keep harping on this, that I would like to see IAF either wholly attach itself to other conferences or create little pods where 2 or 3 people who teach, and we know the teaching that they can do, and we sort of call these other associations, whether it's SHRM or it's some engineering group, some Six Sigma group, and we say, we'd like to inject a facilitator training pod into your conference schedule, and that we go after them to actually have those things taking place. So those are some thoughts off the top of my head.
Yeah, I agree with you on the conferences. I've been trying to do that, and I go to different conferences and teach facilitation at project management, business analysts, and data modeling, and all those things. But I think trying to get all the conferences together would be wonderful because it could show how that everything fits together very nicely.
Mhm.
I mean, we can enhance their career set and their skill set greatly by just giving them this extra set of skills, and then we now can apply this in a totally different process that they understand. And so I think the two come together very nicely. It'd be fun.
There you go. And I'm gonna, because I'm a process guy, I'm gonna go even deeper along that same line, Ingrid. So what I heard described was us going into their conferences. Suppose we did the other side as well, where two thoughts. One, if the IAF were to see this as the trend for the future, that there actually becomes an IAF initiative head, a board position, responsible for propagating facilitation into other worlds, so that's that sole function. A second thought, again, but building on what you were saying, suppose the IAF head of conferences created tracks in relationships where X is an example for the 9 conferences around the world that the IAF has. Here is what a track would look like for project management.
Yes.
And we actually went to PMI and said, PMI, we would love for you to recommend speakers for this track. And would you advertise, you tell us that you select the speakers for the tracks, you select the topics around facilitation that would then invite your people both to be presenters for that track and we do the same thing for business analysts, we do the same thing for the quality folks, where actually we're inviting them to have tracks in our conferences. We do it for teachers.
Yeah.
And so there's a way of, we are now proactively. So right now we're relying on individuals like you and Ingrid to go to these conferences versus now the IAF is transforming its work.
That would make a big difference.
That would be a way to get the word out, and we could possibly drive on that to make that happen.
Yeah.
But you mentioned books, Ingrid. I wanted to just say, perhaps if we even made it booklets, just a booklet. This is a 30, 40, 50 page. And if you want more, read Facilitation with Ease, or read I was about to say the fast facilitation, but you know what I mean. But reading, so here is if you want more. Here's how you go to get more. But here's the booklet that says Facilitation for Engineers. The booklet, Facilitation for JAD. And that we actually do that. Go for it, Ingrid. Your thoughts?
I have an online e-learning course, so people come to it from everywhere. And when I look at who's in there, I've had some surprises. Community health professionals.
Wow.
You wouldn't think nurses would be a prime target, but they come in by the droves because they're constantly working in community conversations. And a tremendous number of engineers and a tremendous number of consultants. So this is obviously a gap.
Yes.
And I really think that if we create, as you're saying, Michael, some kind of pod module, sort of IAF approved, these are the trainers, these are the pieces, let's insert them in your conference or come to our conference. I think we can only win.
No, I think I totally agree with you. And it's interesting how what you've seen with the people coming to this, the gap, there is a huge desire out there for people to learn how to do this. It's just that desire is just not being met right now. We need to kind of come in and club it and say, here it is, we've got a way to help you guys. Excellent. And we're going to change your lives.
We're going to change your lives.
Yeah.
Really good stuff.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Michael and Ingrid. I want to thank the two of you. It's been an honor and a pleasure.
It has been.
Being here with you two. You two people I greatly respect, both personally and professionally. So I think this has been great, and I hope we get an opportunity to converse in the future on other topics relating to facilitation and what we're doing, because I think this is important. It's, like you said, it's your ministry. I think it's our role to get this out there, and it's been my passion for a long time to be and drive facilitation. That's why I plan to do it until the day I die. I need to thank Millie Rush. Millie came up with the idea for the conversations, and she came up with the idea for the title. And if it wasn't for her, I'd have been kind of wondering what to do. So thank you, Millie.
Thank you, Millie.
You came up with the whole idea.
There you go. Thank you.